Good afternoon everyone and welcome to today's webinar. For those that recognise my voice, it's Mike doing today's session and hopefully it should be a relatively quick one for us. So what we'll be covering in today's webinar is purchasing for stock, sort of the different ways that you can set it up to make it a little bit easier for you to actually purchase and maintain your stock levels. So there's a couple of different ways that you can actually manage this. And depending on how that how you feel comfortable and how it fits in with with your purchase runs and how you do your purchasing, it may differ, and the different options may suit you a little bit better. So the first option, which while we're starting in the requirements, is using the new record button at the very top. Now, if you know that you're running out of, say, paper or punch pockets, something that you sell of quite a lot, you can come into the new record button and you can create a requirement. Which what that will basically do, if I just pop in a product here, whatever quantity that you put into here, you can select the supplier, as a default. All of that is just as a default within this little screen. Selecting your quantity, if you've got a purchase cost that you know of, you can put it all into here and you can just create a requirement. And what that will do, it's just opened on my other screen, so I will drag that over, is it will create a stock requisition. So what this will basically do is when it'll build your requirements list full of stock requirements, stuff that you need for your own for your your warehouse to fill your shelves, and basically when you do your purchasing later on, so when you're going through and you highlight all the relevant items in here and then hit purchase down the bottom, it would just put it onto a purchase order as normal and process it through, except when you book it in, rather than this going to a dispatch note and being sent to your customer, it's something for your own stock. So it's just a way that you can build all of your orders, all of your purchasing within the one screen, and then put it onto one purchase order rather than putting it onto multiple. So that's one way of doing it, using the new record button at the very top, and then pushing it through. Now, all of this falls in quite nicely with using your stock reordering. So there is a webinar that dedicates on how to set up your stock reordering, which we can send out a link to if anyone needs it. But right down the very bottom, you do have the stock reordering. So if you do have any products that are set up to use your stock reorder levels, you can also use the stock reordering button at the very bottom to find out the quantity that you need, with your minimum levels, maximum levels, all that you can set up, which is discussed a little bit more in detail in the webinar. And basically you can use this to highlight and then purchase your goods. So it enables you to also set up reorder levels, so you're not buying too much stock or too little to meet your requirements of your warehouse and the goods that you're sending out. So it's a nice easy way of purchasing for stock as well from within here. So you can set up sort of your more frequently sent out and your fast moving items to always maintain a specific level using this. So it's just a case of highlighting the line in here that you want to purchase and clicking purchase, and it will create a requirement, and then it will create a purchase order as well. So just a nice easy way of doing it. You can have more than one item in there, you can have multiple items in there, so it's something to look into if you are going down this route. And then the very final option that we do have in here is new record, purchase order. You would select your supplier, so in our case we're looking for Vout, and create. If I just drag this over again, this will create a blank purchase order for us, and in this we can basically build our order. So if we go to the line section down the very bottom, I in here can put in the product code that we want, quantity, everything else, the price, and we can just keep building the lines that we want, which is a bit more of a manual process, as you've got to remember the products, remember the quantity, but it will create a stock requirement as we see in here. Now the benefit of doing this is you can also, using this buy more button, if you do have any stock reorder levels, obviously we've created ours already, which that'll have created an outstanding purchase order line in the system. using this buy more button, we can see what is in the requirements, and we can select to add specific items on here if we want. So we can choose all of these items and add them in based on our requirements. It will also include our reorder levels as well. So nice and easy, you know, if you were placing a stock order, you've got the source on the left hand side that you can see which shows sales and stock. So in our case, if we are building this for stock, building a stock order, we can tell that these are stock requirements that we've set up in the system, and we can just add these to the purchase order. So rather than showing just the 5 on there, there'll be a higher quantity of our item on there now because it's the same item. So you can use the buy more button as well as just going into the lines and selecting add product and keep on adding and adding and adding more into here. So it makes it nice and easy for you to manage it further down the line, and it'd just be a case of once you've built your order, you can hit purchase if it's an EDI supplier and that will go down, or you can use the report tab to send it to your relevant supplier if they're not EDI. So just as a quick recap, the 2 main ways of you actually purchasing for stock is either creating a sort of a requirement, a stock requirement, and purchasing through your purchase run later on in the day or whenever you do your purchase runs. The other way is using the new record purchase order button and going through that way, but there's a few little tips in there, so always try and look out for the buy more button to consolidate your purchase orders if you can. It'll make it a little bit easier if you're buying for stock and see if there's anything else in there that you do need to buy for stock. And that's the main 2 ways of doing it. It's nice and straightforward, nice and simple, and that's the process done. So thank you for tuning in today. I said it was going to be a relatively short one, but if you do have any questions, we'll be sticking around for a little while at the end here. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask away. And if you want any more one-to-one training on the purchase runs, anything regarding this, or even reorder levels itself, because I know we touched briefly on that, please let the customer service team know, and we can get one of the training guys to get in contact with yourselves to go through that. Apart from that, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.